Alright, it's been a few days since it ended, which means it's finally time for me to give my impressions about the Destiny 2 beta. If you've paid any attention to the internet during the duration of the beta, you would think that the sky is falling. Reddit especially was under a mountain of complaint posts and ideas for how to change the game. But here's the thing. They are very much the outspoken vocal minority. I truly believe that Destiny 2 is the worthy successor that we've been clamoring for. In fact, ask any streamer, YouTuber, or content creator. They'd probably say the same thing. People often get caught up in massive amounts of hype and look at the game with rose-colored glasses on. Were there problems with the beta? Absolutely. Is Destiny 2 going to be a crapshoot when it launches? 100% no. In fact, Bungie has already addressed several problems that the audience had brought up, so let's all take a deep breath and go through this together. I present to you the good, the bad, and the everybody calm down of the Destiny 2 beta. On the internet, it's very difficult to voice your opinion about something without being accused of projecting your thoughts on another person. This video is all about my personal feelings, likes, dislikes about the beta, and why I think that people are slightly overreacting. Let's start from the beginning, the homecoming mission. After loading up the game and being greeted by the start screen with the amazing music, I quickly chose Titan as my first character. I've mained Titan since the beta for Destiny 1 and have no intention of changing now. As I loaded into the mission and the cutscene started, I could feel a new energy that didn't exist in the previous game. Destiny 2 turns everything up to 11, and quickly. Walking through the destroyed tower left me excited and sad. I've spent 3 years of my life running around this damn place and now it's gone without a warning. Seeing Cade, Zavala, and Ikora actually take part in the action was amazing. I'm still holding out hope that they will actually fight alongside us like true NPCs and not act out a predetermined sequence, but I liked what I saw. The transition to the Cabal warship was very cool, and I love that it gave Amanda Holliday something to do. I felt actual dread as I ran out of the core room to be greeted by Gaul. He is truly intimidating. Watching your Guardian have their light ripped away made the threat seem very real, and losing your ghost as Gaul kicks you to the edge of the ship actually made my heart sink. I think Bungie has really taken our criticism of the story to heart. They know they messed up in Destiny 1, and they are trying to prove that the world of Destiny can actually tell a badass story. The next thing I played was the Inverted Spire Strike. I was very surprised by the scope of the mission. You travel much farther in this one strike than you ever did in one from the first game. We got to see a lot more of the planet, and in the full game I'm sure we can get sidetracked by adventures and public events that will make the world feel more alive. The strike was pretty much what I've come to expect though. Go here, kill enemies, activate this thing, kill more enemies, fight a boss, and get loot. Although it was still fairly formulaic, Bungie surprised us with a giant rotating death machine, and a boss that actually felt like a threat. I thought the inclusion of the drill as an obstacle that we had to fight and maneuver around was brilliant. It certainly took several lives for myself and my fire team. It spiced up what would have otherwise been a mundane fight. And I thought the boss and its 3 different stages was a nice twist on the classic formula. Having it change elements throughout the fight will make it a very tough nightfall. If there was one thing I wish I could change in PvE, it would be the generation of super energy. In the state of the beta, it was just way too slow. You could only get 2, maybe 3 supers in the entire strike. That doesn't make for a fun encounter. You have all these awesome powers, yet you can barely use them. The other thing I noticed was the lack of power ammo. I ended up picking up and saving all the power ammo I could find for the boss because it barely ever dropped. And I'm not alone in thinking this. These were very popular opinions online. The good news is that Bungie has already changed them. In fact, Bungie has changed quite a bit of PvE. You see, when crafting a beta, you have to put together a vertical slice of the game and bug test it and make sure it's 100% okay for thousands of players to partake in. That takes up a lot of time. So much time that Bungie confirmed that the build we all played is actually months old. They have already improved super energy, power ammo spawn, grenade damage, etc. If any of those were complaints that you had too, feel good in knowing that they won't be there when the game ships on September 6th. Next up, PvP. I am absolutely not a big PvP player. However, I did make it to the Lighthouse shortly after House of Wolves launched. What's up, Widow's Court? I also play Iron Banner enough to be familiar with maps and metas and the typical BS that encapsulates a multiplayer mode. I really enjoyed the 4v4 change. It forces your team to really work together, and the additional reliance on team shotting means that you can quickly take down a foe or be quickly sent to the respawn screen. Although matches can get super sweaty, I think it'll balance out after a month into the game. I thought all the changes to control made it a perfect game mode. It's so much more fast-paced, and the fact that you don't need to neutralize points before capping them for your team means that the tide can turn at any second. I had an absolute blast playing it. Countdown seems to be a great addition for the more hardcore fans. I wasn't able to bring a team in, so I got stomped pretty much every time I played. You can't expect to solo queue and win in this mode. You need a fire team and clear communication to prevail. It does seem like it'll be a lot of fun when I play with friends. The downside to PvP was similar to PvE, the supers. The charge time was so pathetic that even if you had a really good game, you'd probably only get your super 30 seconds to a minute before everyone else. The end of matches turned into a free-for-all frenzy where everyone would pop their super and just hope to get a kill. I think simply increasing the amount of super energy gained from defeats will help alleviate this problem. I also thought ability cooldowns in general were just way too slow. Taking over a minute for a grenade is ridiculous. I understand that Bungie is trying to rid PvP of the ability spam hellscape that is the current meta in Destiny 1, but it's a little too unbalanced right now. On the good side, I think the switch to kinetic and energy weapons actually benefit the Crucible. Being able to shoot with a pulse rifle and then immediately switch to a hand cannon when an enemy gets too close was a great feeling. And I thought the spawn time for power ammo was just about perfect. It didn't take over any match that I was in, but its presence was felt, usually by a shotgun or fusion rifle to my face. Overall, if Bungie buffs ability charge time, I think PvP will be in a very healthy spot. I actually had fun playing for the first time in a while. Now last but not least, let's talk about those new subclasses. First up, the Titan Sentinel. Holy crap, is it cool. It's definitely the most versatile super in the game. With the ability to go offense or defense by casting a Ward of Dawn instead of the shield, I felt like I could quickly assess the situation and react accordingly. The shield feels like a powerhouse super, letting you bash skulls in or throw it for a long distance kill. I never felt too powerful though, as I definitely had my moments where I was outplayed by another person's super. I also love the class ability. Being able to use the barrier to block off a path or take immediate cover behind usually meant the difference between life or death. I think both the Rally Barricade and the Tower Barricade have their own purpose within the game, and I can't wait to try them out more. Next up is the Arc Strider. Although there were many comparisons to Blade Dancer, I was surprised to find how different it actually was. Arc Strider feels good to use. The ability to combo different moves together gave it an element that no other super has. I think people will find more usage out of it in the full game. However, in the beta, it felt like the weakest of the three new subclasses. The Hunter's dodge ability doesn't help it either. I like the idea that the dodge can refill my magazine or recharge my melee, but the cooldown was so long that I'd accidentally use it and then not have it when I really needed it. The Hunter just doesn't feel like a team player. In PvE, it's fun to go solo and wreck enemies with the Arc Staff, but in PvP you feel outmanned when a Fist of Havoc or Flaming Sword comes your way. Hunters could use a little more love from Bungie, I'm just not sure how. Finally, we have the Dawnblade Warlock. Wow. I rarely used my Warlock in Destiny 1, but it quickly jumped up my list for Destiny 2. The new changes to the mobility make the Warlock more viable in combat situations. It now has a built-in Twilight Garrison dodge, and the Angel of Light perk is worked into one of the subclass blocks. The super, though, is where it shines. Floating in the air over the battlefield, I felt unstoppable as I rained down flaming swords. It took just enough skill to land a hit that it didn't feel overpowered, yet felt accomplishing while taking out an enemy in the Crucible. I might forever be a Titan, but Dawnblade Warlock is a very close second. I think their class ability is great also. It plays well with teams as you can provide a buff that everyone can partake in. You can choose healing or damage boost, just like the Ward of Dawn from the original game. However, here, you must stay in the rift at all times to feel the effect. You are also susceptible to damage while standing in it. I think it's a good compromise, as I'm sure Bungie didn't intend for Ward of Dawn to be so heavily relied on in Destiny 1. Overall, I believe Bungie is pointing Destiny 2 in the right direction. We've already had confirmation that a lot of the PvE issues are taken care of. If they can step up and fix the problems with PvP as well, then the internet is going to have to find something new to complain about. I understand that armor perks in the game can affect cooldown times for abilities, but I feel like that won't be enough. I'm going to give Bungie the benefit of the doubt here because I truly trust in their vision for the sequel, and they've gone out of their way to show how much care and love they're putting into this game. We only have to wait a little over 5 weeks until we can experience Destiny 2 for ourselves. Until then, we should all try to keep the hype in check so we don't ruin our own expectations. Let me know your thoughts on the beta down in the comments. Are there more things you would change? If you'd like to take the conversation over to Twitter, you can follow me at MikeCheckGaming. Make sure to stick around for more Destiny 2 content in the future. I'm sure there will be more reveals soon. Thanks for watching, everyone. Peace.